Welcome to the official YouTube channel for the Colin Cowherd podcast. Go on, hit that subscribe button if you're new so you don't miss any of our great football content this season. I'll throw this at you. See if you can catch it. Name the one borderline Hall of Fame guy whose last 4 years eliminate him from the Hall of Fame. That it does subtract from his 10 great years.
Well, I mean, that's the argument that Richard Sherman and Tony Gonzalez were making about Russell Wilson.
Boom.
Yeah.
So there's no question.
Yeah.
The fall is so precipitous. He got kind of weird. And it's like, Pete, get out. Sean, get out. Tomlin, get out. Jackson Dart, excuse me, Russ. Like, it was, I mean, Phillip Rivers had the mobility of a batting cage in Indianapolis. He couldn't, I remember his GM, Tom Telesco, saying he's the worst athlete right now in the sport, and he is unbelievable. Like, Tom loved him. He's like, people don't understand. He has no athletic ability at this point in his last year to two. Like, he didn't have any left, right?
Yeah.
And he was never super mobile, but he was a big, strong athlete. But his last year to two, he goes to Indianapolis, he just can't move. Dude, he was out of this world in Indianapolis. I think they were like 11-5? He got to a playoff game in Buffalo. They played well. Russell's great years get a little marginalized because of Marshawn Lynch, the defense, and there was a 2 to 3 year period. It was one of the best rosters in 30 years. And then to fall off a cliff, and like elite coaches, Tomlin, Peyton, like, we're not interested at all. I think it keeps Russ out.
Yeah, well, I think it's really, really hard to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And, it's a little different because, like, Russ is doing the same job that he was doing. Like, Bill, went to media and then went to college, right? So it's different. Whereas, like, Russ, NFL quarterback. But there's a lot of, Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning, Matthew Stafford. I saw you talk about Jared Goff. Like, in this era of passing football, it's going to be very, very, very difficult for quarterbacks to get in. What is most interesting to me about the Russ conversation, because you can make the case for him, has the Super Bowl, had the 9 or 10 years of like consistent excellence. It's just clear that he is not very liked. Like,
It's weird.
What does Tony Gonzalez have against Russell Wilson? Okay, Richard Sherman, maybe they didn't get along, teammates, offense, defense, riff, but a current Hall of Famer, like a gold jacket member, saying this guy's not going to wear a gold jacket, and it's not like a steroid situation or like an ethics moral thing. Like, what did he do? Why does he have such a strong opinion about it?
I think there's just a sense that Russell's inauthentic, and I think you can literally do awful things as a pro athlete and still have the respect. I mean, there was a lot of questions about Ray Lewis's involvement with a murder.
Sure.
He was still respected by athletes. You can be involved in bankruptcies and infidelity, but if guys think in the mob, if they think you're a rat, doesn't matter if you're a big earner, you're a rat. And in pro football, if guys think you're a phony and inauthentic, you're out. I think it's just a line you don't cross.
I think you're probably on it. And I know that is just like one clip from a Thursday Night Football postgame show that went viral that is sticking with me. But like, if Richard Sherman would have said that, and then Tony Gonzalez would have kind of like echoed it, I'd be like, okay. But how does Tony Gonzalez know that that Russell Wilson's funny? Like, he wasn't in a huddle with him. He wasn't in a locker room, because Russell Wilson might make the Hall of Fame. And then he would be in a room with Tony Gonzalez, and I'd imagine that would be a little awkward. So it was just, I can't really think of a comp for a current Hall of Famer campaigning against a prospective Hall of Famer ever.
But
Unless it's a moral of the game, because there's a million of them in baseball, but it's all steroids related. Like it's not just like, nah, that guy's not good enough to get in.
well, it's funny because let's say I my marriage, I didn't have coworkers at my marriage. I had a chef, a producer, a college friend. I had an agent. I had a neighbor. I had a lot of different people. My sister, family, my wife's family. I didn't have broadcasters. Nobody thinks twice about that. But if you're an athlete and get married, especially a quarterback, and you don't have any players involved, it does feel unfairly weird. It's like if
Yeah,
you owned a restaurant and you had nobody from the restaurant at your wedding, because we know you work 80 hours a week and
right.
nobody goes to your wedding. You kind of feel like in pro sports, it's a brotherhood. You don't have any players at your wedding. You have like one guy. And I remember reading that story and thinking, that feels odd. And I thought, well, it wouldn't be odd. I didn't have broadcasters. But broadcasters go their own separate way. You know what I mean? Like we go in, we work, we leave. We don't hang out together. Maybe your first job in El Paso, you do. But, as you move on in Chicago, you got wives and kids. But it's just one of those things that was because I was always a big Russ defender. And when I read that story about getting married and there weren't players there, I was like, that does feel odd. That's it. Because especially as a quarterback, you'd bring your lineman. Football season's here, and if you want to go to an NFL or college football game, Game Time is the place for you. The Game Time app just gives you the advantage back to you, the fans. It's a hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experiences in a few taps. I love it. Easy to use. The Game Time guarantee means you can trust you'll get 100% authentic tickets on time and at the best price, 100%. So they even let you preview your seat on the app. That's special. Plus, fees are always included. So what you see is what you pay every time. Take the guesswork out of buying professional football tickets with Game Time. Just download the Game Time app, create an account. If you use the code Colin, COLIN, $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply again. Create an account, redeem code COLIN, $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today.
That was the thing I was just gonna say. The quarterback doesn't have friends on the team. That can't be good. I wouldn't want to be his left tackle. Yeah, no, he's. And by the way, I've never met Russell Wilson. He is clearly a little weird. Like he's a little different, a little eccentric, which is fine. It's surprising still to me to hear that many those high profile people, teammates and otherwise, speak out against him. And I'm with you. At this point, if I had to bet on it, on him being a finalist but not getting in, like getting past like the first couple of rounds down to the final 15 and not getting in. Like Canton's tough. We've been off the last, for baseball playoffs, but I saw you had a Jared Goff. You have him as a Hall of Famer.
No, I said he will be a Hall of Famer. Absolutely. Since 2017. So
Yeah.
that's going to be 9 years. He's like first in passing touchdowns. First,
Yeah.
I think people are shocked. He's had 7 offensive coordinators. He was great with 6. Like he works with everybody. And I think to me, that's always been it. It'd be one thing if we're in TV and you had this one great producer and the rest of your career, 8 shows bombed. It's like, okay, who was your partner? Who was your producer? 7 coordinators, 6 he's crushed. And it's like, guys, I always think Hall of Fames are a great 10 years. That's why I never understood the Jim Rice. I know he was difficult with the press or something, but Jim Rice, when I was a kid, was the best right-handed American League power hitter for a decade. Like it was just like he was one of 2. He and Fred Lynn were the Red Sox. And like people went back and forth, and I'm like, what? 10 years of greatness is hard. For your peak maybe 8 physical years. And so if you look at Jared Goff, he has 8 great years. Well, this front office is so good. Amon-Ra St. Brown's in his prime. The running backs, one's young, one's not that old. Penei Sewell is just entered his prime. He's going to have 3 to 4 big years with Detroit or somebody. Jared's a Hall of Famer, and he's made no enemies. Even McVay feels guilty for letting him go.
Well, he's definitely seems like a very nice guy. Yeah, and I mean Laporta and Jamison Williams are young, so yeah,
Yeah.
he's got plenty of young talent. The numbers are ridiculous. The only thing I would say is because I love the Lions and they've been my Super Bowl pick 3 years in a row. So eventually maybe I'll get it right. Um, it's not just a stats thing. Like it's not like he will need to hoist a trophy because I think Stafford is in because Stafford is going to finish sixth all time in passing
Yes.
yards.
Yeah. Stafford's in.
I agree, and he has the trophy, but like if Stafford didn't have the trophy,
Very hard. Probably not.
but he's got numbers that are far. I mean, obviously, we'll see where Jared Goff ends up, but like, it's not like a guarantee that Jared Goff ends up top five all time in passing yards. He might, but
It helps. It does help, even though it's not linear. It does help that Goff is better with the Lions than Stafford was.
yes,
I mean,
yes.
you look at it and you're like, God, Goff crushed, and
The,
Stafford never did. Now, one of them
yes,
had
yes, though.
the best young GM in the
Yeah,
sport, or one of the best GMs. So it's not apples to orange apples, right? It's different. But I do think there's, that's just one of those things you look at and you're like, well, Goff won big in Detroit, and we all know that it's same ownership.
right.
Quirky head coach and Dan Campbell. He didn't have McVay.
Yeah, but I think that like in a vacuum in their prime, starting a team, right? Because
Stafford.
Stafford,
Yeah,
Stafford,
right.
Stafford. Exactly. And again, that's also not the criteria for the Hall of Fame.
Right.
But I remember a GM was like, my job is to evaluate individual talent amidst the team sport. Like that's like the job of the football general manager, right? And so like it's why I've always been a big Herbert guy. And like it just I watch him, and no, not everyone is a free agent. We are not doing this to start a team, but I'm like, that guy is one of the five best at the position. He just
Yeah.
doesn't have the trophy case for it.
Right.
Stafford in his prime always felt like the same type of thing to me. Like I would love to give Howie Roseman the ability to build a team around Matt Stafford, to give Brett Veach, to give Brad Holmes, the general manager of the Lions, like to build around the great quarterback because he is a Hall of Fame talent, and now I do think that Stafford has enough of a resume that he will ultimately get in. Goff, I think, is going to need a trophy. Like if has regular season success and counting stats, the Pro Football Hall of Fame is really tough to get into. So I think they're going to have to break through and start winning in the playoffs.